Good morning. Good morning, lady. Enoa, welcome to NEOM. I'm Frank Brickau, by the way, Executive Director of Customer and Digital within Enoa. And I'm here with...
Hi, I'm Holly. I'm working with Enoa for 1.5 years, working in the CX team.
Lawrence.
And my name is Lawrence. Good morning, everybody. And I'm running the CX team within Enoa with Frank.
Yeah, and although I assume most of you know about NEOM, I think it's always worthwhile to just give a quick intro to NEOM. And one of the ways of doing that is showing some of the stunning landscapes that we have there, because it's one of the gifts that we quite gratefully receive and that will help us realizing the dream of NEOM. And NEOM is really about building not a city really, but a country from the ground up. Country the size of Belgium. I always like saying that because I'm Belgian myself, so connects me a little bit with my home country. Size of Belgium from the ground up in the northwest of Saudi, which envisages to eventually be the home of between 5 and 10 million people that are going to work, live there, and really develop first the solutions for NEOM in terms of renewable energy, in terms of renewable water, in terms of smart cities, cognitive cities as we call it, in terms of developing all kinds of solutions that we're first going to do in NEOM. And then of course we would like to export that for the rest of to the rest of the world. And we want to do all that with a lot of respect for this beautiful nature. I mean, not only the nature on the land, but also in the sea. We really want to not only protect, but restore. And that's one of the reasons why 5% of the total surface of NEOM to, let's say, support the human activity, and 95% of the surface on the land and on the sea we will not touch. So that's all part of the logic of NEOM, of the mission of NEOM. So what is Enoa then? Enoa is one of the first companies that was spun off from the big NEOM mothership. And Enoa is all about energy and water. N-E-N, it's not really difficult. E-N from energy, the water at the end. And the circle in the middle is connecting energy and water. But it's also about circularity, circular economy. Because we really want to be the front runner of the environmental protection that we want to achieve in NEOM, and energy and water are really at the basis of that. So Enoa is about supplying all the energy and all the water that the whole of NEOM will need to be built, but also to be the home of people. And that's also what this first session, and I'll give the floor soon to my two colleagues, but I just want to frame a little bit the session, because yes, NEOM is about building infrastructure. NEOM is about building houses and industries and so forth. But the real success of NEOM will be when there will be hopefully millions of people living, working, having a good time in NEOM. They will need a lot of energy, they will need a lot of water, and we're going to supply them that in a sustainable way. Now, building that big infrastructure takes time, takes a lot of effort. And another particular challenge that NEOM has is currently there are not a lot of people there. So we want to build a country for, let's say, up to 10 million people, but we can't get out on the street and ask people, what do you like? What don't you like? That's one element. The other element is NEOM is going to take some time. So eventually the people that will work and live in NEOM are my kids and their kids. Hopefully, you know, who knows, I might retire there. I'm 55, so. But we're really looking at the real population of NEOM is the millennials, it's Gen Z, and all the letters that will follow afterwards. Right? So, as part of our customer and digital organization that I'm heading within NEOM and Enoa, we really want to start engaging with those future inhabitants of NEOM. And we are lucky to some extent because they are all digital natives by definition, by birth, I would say. So we really want to reach out to them via the digital channels where they are. And today is actually a conversation in that context I mean, this is already a community here in this half circle. Maybe this is part of the community that will be not only face-to-face, but also via digital channels, might be interested in at one day living in NEOM or working in NEOM, and we want to get into a conversation with you. So that's what all this workshop is about. And now I'm going to shut up. I'm going to sit in front, but I'll jump on stage if that might add value, but I leave it to in the hands of my two very capable colleagues to lead you through the session. Holly, Lawrence, over to you.
Thank you very much, Frank. Thank you. Wow, what an opening. And let's hope that that's brought some energy to everybody in the crowd. One of the first things I want to say is it's a massive, massive honour to work at NEOM, to be part of Inoa, to work in Saudi Arabia in this wonderful region. And today we're here in Riyadh in this incredible palatial hotel. And I just want to say I feel very privileged to be on the stage here talking with you guys today and being part of this vision. It really is quite incredible. Oh, there's another nice image. So if we were to sum up what we're all about today, and also to sort of start talking about this conversation, to start talking you guys through this, it might read something a little bit like this. So we want to drive the ongoing dialogue, okay, between our existing and future NEOM and Inoa community members and people to co-create current and future value through the use of immersive digital technologies. Now, we are all here today, and the clue is in the name. We are at the AI Summit, the Global AI Summit. And as we know, artificial intelligence will play a huge part in a lot of the things we build, a lot of the experiences we create. But just to set the scene, to build on the words of Frank, what we really want to do here today is facilitate this conversation, because we would be naive if we stood up here and said, we know everything. As Frank said, if we think about the youth, if we think about, the current experiences that the youth are having right now, today, these guys and these girls will be the future of what we're doing. And if we don't start this conversation right now, then we'll be talking to the wrong people at the wrong time. So, as I say, great privilege to be here. And let's get into that conversation. So, what we aim to do is start a conversation about closing experience gaps, okay? So, NEOM is all about people, okay? Inoa is obviously energy and water. And it's how these things can complement each other, but actually how that thinking can go beyond what we're talking about here. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to start almost planting a seed and getting you to think about, in the context of AI, in the context of youth, in the context of perhaps communities you're already involved in, about how we can add spatial experience to things like shopping, to the way that we work. I mean, COVID has proved that actually we can work quite well in a virtual space. Who'd have thought that before the pandemic struck? How do we interact with our family when we're miles away all over the world? And I think that's probably a good point to just, see where people have come from today. I mean, obviously a lot of people from the region. We've got a Belgian guy in the front, which is obviously very good. Holly and I and Ben, part of our team, we're all from the UK. How do we really connect with people all over the world when we add personal experiences to things like your identity, to your security? Hugely important now. I mean, obviously, with the emergence of new technologies, there's also new threats. So the security part is hugely important. Your avatar, how you're viewed online, okay? We'd like to start talking to you today, and this will come in a more interactive form in just a couple of minutes, but we'd like really start talking about how can we add a service experience to what you're doing, maybe using these external communities and emerging technologies. It could be anything to do with transferring money. It could be in the NFT space. It could be paying a bill, something as simple as that. All of this is possible. Some of it will happen, some of it won't happen. None of this is defined. None of this is set in stone. And I think this is why we feel privileged, because we're at the forefront of actually facilitating this conversation with all of the right people. And then it's emotion. How do we add emotional experience to things like creating artwork? I think some amongst us, not me actually, but need to talk to the organisers about that, had some digital artwork in their rooms created by AI. Oh, sorry about that. Actually, how does it feel to connect emotionally with family in virtual spaces and actually using sort of, immersive technologies? And how does it really feel to experience this wonderful new concept that we're working on, which is Enoa within Neom? Now, what this will do by talking amongst these things with existing people within our communities at Neom and Enoa now, and by coming to great events like this and talking to people like you, is that we can really start to get an understanding of the art of the possible. So what do people want to see? How do people want to experience things? What fears have you got about this technology? It's moving very quickly. And what we aim to do here is to actually be these small arrows at the bottom that actually link our existing communities with our future communities. And we need to start at the beginning. And when we start at the beginning, it's not starting at 1, it's starting at 0. So we like to think of this as kind of phase 0 thinking. And actually, if we think about phase 0 in relation to communities, in relation to experiences, industries, and actually how we bring that forward, it could look a little bit like this. It's about defining a North Star vision with you. What does good look like for you in communities, in technology, in livability? What are the key opportunity areas you see? What existing communities do you guys already have? What are you already a part of? There's no point in recreating the wheel. If there are already cool communities we can talk to and engage with now, we should be. How can we identify trends and best practices? And why do we do this? Well, actually, the life we live is a good one, but things can always get better. And with the emergence of these new technologies, with the emergence of really looking at things from a humanistic point of view, we can start to identify these experience gaps. We can build a map of what good looks like and how to get there. We can prioritize the areas, and we can really get this North Star vision nailed down. And then I think it's interesting, and we'll talk about this later as well, who do we play against? So who are the big players in these spaces? And you look around this fantastic arena and beyond, and we see a lot of big names here, a lot of big people doing big things. So it's like, what are they doing? How are they winning? How are they winning for their people? How are they identifying new customers? And actually, in this brand new landscape we head into, how can we benchmark about what is good and actually what is just mediocre or ordinary? And then finally, before I hand over to Holly, how do we validate that all of these conversations we've had with you are the right things to do? How do we continue that conversation? And this is what it's all about. It's a continual dialogue between us and you, between us and the future communities. Okay? Prioritizing the backlogs, building this future roadmap together, and then scaling it so that it can be something big enough for everybody to enjoy. Okay, I've done enough talking. So I'm going to hand over to Holly, who is going to say a few words, and she's going to take you through the more interactive part of what we're doing today. Holly Glester.
Thank you, Lawrence. Yes, so when we first got briefed on this session, we said it was going to be, a workshop, and as you can see, this room doesn't really allow for that. So I've tried to make it as interactive as possible using a tool called Mentimeter. So I'd like you all to take out your phones. I have a little laser so I can show where you need to go to. So it's www.menti.com. And here is the code that you need to put in when you get there. The code will remain the same throughout the presentation, so do not worry if at some point you drop out. This code will always be at the top, so you can join back in wherever, okay? And we really want to have like an open conversation with you guys, because it's really important for us, to collaborate on this thinking, and we want to see where your guys' heads are at. We can show where we're at. And I think it's really good to have this open conversation. As Lawrence mentioned, this can be a new community, so let's share our ideas together. So the first question we really wanted to dive into is, how does AI improve lives? And as you can see, anything you write on your phone will come up on the screen. So please, if I have something in my teeth, don't write it here. We don't need to know it. But yeah, okay, cool. So we can already see some great ideas. I'm already intrigued by the basketball option.
I'm intrigued by the breakfast option, actually, yeah.
So I can see already that the word car, the word car has been used a few times. Let me get back. And making life easier. So who actually said car? Okay, I see a guy with your hand up. Maybe we can get a microphone to him. And I'd just like to understand, how do you see AI improving in relation to car?
Hello, everyone. Hi, Morsi from Gear Systems. Actually, in the AI can improve the car by the autonomous car. So I can see very good potential in this field. Actually, my colleague back in Egypt has very successful models in a couple of companies. So I can see very good potential in the AI for the autonomous car.
Yeah, and so how do you see that improving lives? Is it that people, aren't having to drive so much, they don't have to take control, or is there another aspect?
Yes, it will eventually reduce the number of incidents and accidents for the cars, and will improve the way we are driving in each day, how we drive our kids to the school or do the club or etc. and family. So we will be more, let's say, confident that our family is more safer.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's hear a little bit of appreciation for that. Fantastic.
Yeah, and I'd also like to call out efficiency. Obviously, at ANOA, this is a topic that's very interesting to us. So who wrote efficiency? If you're not too nervous to say. Oh, it's over there, Lawrence.
I think there's another microphone going to be
perfect.
given.
You're not my glamorous assistant anymore.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Yes, I have written efficiency. And I think that AI could... Is it clear? Can everybody hear me? Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay, great. I believe AI could help improve efficiency into many different sectors, like health. Practitioners could use AI models to improve their decision making in a much faster way, since medical incidents need faster response.
Yeah.
So I guess this could improve lives in a accurate way.
Perfect. I think that is, I think we agree with you completely on that. And we also see health as one of the biggest things. So I think you've definitely touched on that topic. Okay. So are you nervous about AI? I mean, we've all seen iRobot, right? I mean, I'm a little bit nervous, but it's super interesting for us to see how you guys feel. And it can also be thinking about, the future generations, the youth of the day. are you nervous for them about AI, or do you think, it will move a bit forward? Okay, so I can see a lot of people are unsure.
I think not being nervous is obviously trending, which is a good thing at a conference like this.
So I'd like to ask anyone who said unsure if you could raise your hands.
It's a good question. Who's unsure?
Yeah. Maybe, is there a reason
There's a
why?
microphone being brought over to you right now.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. My
Hello.
name is Iman. I said I'm unsure because it's depend on the context where AI is applied. For example, if it's applied in healthcare, it depends on the patient if they trust AI to do surgery more than the doctors. And if AI is going to improve the education, I think more of the people is gonna trust the AI and are not nervous about it. That's why I put unsure, and I hope it's clear now.
Yeah, that's really clear. Thank you so much.
It's a very good answer indeed, because it's about context, isn't it?
And then I'd really like to ask someone who said no. Okay, we have a guy over here.
He's not nervous at all.
No, he's very excited to tell us why we shouldn't be
Yes,
afraid.
I think that AI will always have a positive impact on our life. And based on what we already seen with self-driving cars, with AI in graphic design and many other applications, it's always a positive impact. I would never see the future where AI would become dangerous or would wage war against humans. I think it's sci-fi, and we will always have control over AI.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So you don't think iRobot is going to happen?
No.
Yeah? Okay, cool. Thank you. You've
Thank you.
reassured me.
Let's hear it.
Thank you.
Come on.
Thank you.
Okay, and then maybe someone who said that they are nervous about AI.
Lady at the back, I think. Oh, sorry, we've got a lady at the front and a lady at the back.
And a man.
Hello, everyone. My name is Raida. Although I'm really excited, I'm looking forward to the future of AI, but I can't help, as a cybersecurity student, to be really concerned about the security. And I don't know, I feel like I'm responsible for some reason that I need to find some secure, methods. But yeah, that's why I'm nervous about AI. But in general, of course, I'm excited, and we cannot help it. We cannot really stop it. We just can't say, no, we're not going to do AI. It's going to be harmful or whatever. But we need to find some ways and method to keep it secure so we can use it in the near future.
I mean, if we build on what you've just said in relation to what the gentleman at the back in the blue shirt said, I mean, I think it's all about control, right? And I think maybe as humans, the moment that we feel we're losing control is the moment that we feel the machines can take over. And it's about trust. It's about trust. And I think that's a nice segue into the next thing that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so we're now going to be going a little bit deeper into community building. And we have this really lovely quote. So, alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. And I think we probably all in agreeing. Doesn't mean you can do nothing by yourself, but if we want to make a movement, we really need to collaborate together, and that's when really things are going to start having a snowball effect and move forward.
And this isn't just, let's just clarify, this isn't just on stage here today. This is the continual dialogue that we want to have with people like you, as Frank said, with the younger generations, with the millennials, with the Gen Zs. I've got 2 daughters. One is 6, one is 12. I mean, what are they going to experience in their lifetimes? They could come out and live at NEOM. They could come and be part of the Inoa community. So it's exciting times, and it's this, it doesn't stop today, it continues as a dialogue. Holly, sorry.
Yes, no, that's perfect. Thank you. So our next question is around which communities are you part of? And it's important to note here, communities can be big, they can be small, they can be online, offline, just however you feel that you're in a community is relevant.
So we've got technology, gaming, gym, neighborhood, church, cybersecurity. These are all great keep filling your answers in. Just because the board is becoming full, your answers are still relevant.
I think it's really nice to see there's a lot around like student club, academic, student union, online learning. This is also something we're really passionate about at ANOA, that we need to, you know, develop people, increase learning, capability building. And it's nice to see that you guys see that as a community. We totally agree.
Did you want to touch upon any specific point, Holly?
Well, I feel like because we do work for ANOA, I have seen energy and renewable. So selfishly, I'd like to hear a little bit more about that.
So who had energy and renewable? If we could have a show of hands, it's this lady here. And I know that you were going to speak before, so it's great that you can speak now.
And I'm glad it wasn't just our two colleagues at the front, writing energy many times.
Hi everyone, my name is Zina. I've been part of the renewable and energy community for around 15 years in the Middle East, so it's great to see it being developed and actually seeing it grow more and more every day. So happy to see that part of, and actually the community here is thinking about the energy transition, how we're going to include renewable and energy efficiency in our drive moving forward.
And I think certainly for me, the period of time that you've been a part of that community is what really stands out, you know, this 15 years. Can I ask one other question? What's kept you engaged for so long in this community?
Well, because you see the future with it. With regards to green energy, it started off as more of what are we going to do, how are we going to embed it? But now that you see it being pushed by the government, by having a transition from the community to government level, that's the exciting factor, because it is the future.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. A small show of appreciation. Thank you.
Cool, and this leads us on very nicely to our next question. So what's the most important aspect of a community to you? It can be anything that you feel, you know, maintains your involvement in the community.
Frank, trust, number one.
Yeah, I know we've been doing a lot of research recently, and trust really is, maybe it's obvious, but it's always nice to see it on the screen. So I think it's nice we have like common ground, trust, engagement. So who actually wrote trust? Was it you, Frank? And this lady here? But it's nice that there's two of you. Maybe we can just ask you why for you it's so important.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
My name is Najat. I'm a doctor. I'm an anesthesiologist. And I'm part of healthcare community. So first, I'm very excited about IA because I want to enjoy my life. I will have more time with IA. And for me, the most important aspect is the trust. As I'm doctor, it's just because of this. Thank you.
Yes, that makes total sense. Thank you so much.
That's a show of appreciation. Thank you. And it's such a huge part of everything we do. When we build any relationship, it's surely built on trust. It's the cornerstone of what we do, and that's no different in communities.
And one of the final questions is, how can we use AI to make your communities more rewarding? So we've spoken, about communities, we've spoken about the benefits of AI. Also, if we keep bearing in mind, this is for future generations, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, not sure, as Lauren said, what's next? But how can we make it more rewarding for them? We've seen in the previous question as well around trust. So I think it's really important that we also keep this in our mind.
And I think, Holly, fair to say that we could have a slightly longer conversation on this particular one because, we are at the moment looking, and this is why we're here today, to engage with you guys, to engage with, the youth communities, the Gen Zers, the Gen Alphas even, into actually what makes these communities more rewarded and how can that be powered? How can it be driven using AI? So take your time to think about this one, because, as I say, we'll allow ourselves slightly longer for this conversation.
Yes, and this one, the answers come up a little bit differently because I thought people might write a little bit more, so we didn't go for the word cloud. So we might need help from the guys behind the screen at a point if we need to scroll down or something. Hopefully they're listening to me. Yeah. So I think we're really seeing a trend in gamification. I would completely agree. I think especially with the... Oh, we have a question.
A microphone is coming.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you so much. Any very interesting and very interactive section. And I am Tanzila Sabah. I am leading Artificial Intelligence and Data Analytics Lab at Prince Sultan University, Riyadh. So for me, the most important thing is providing sustainable solutions. Recently we have the pandemic, COVID-19, and if we look some type of natural disasters, so any predictable situations can happen, and sometimes we have very temporary solutions. So AI has the power which we can come up with the sustainable solutions which we as the communities should be ready to face with, come up with the solutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A small round of applause for this lady here. Thank you. And just one question, but I mean, if we think about, communities around AI, I mean, would you be interested personally in forming one of these communities, in being part of one of these communities that really drives AI forward so that we can start to predict things, we can start to, as you quite rightly say, avoid disasters in the future? Is that something that you would be open to?
Yeah, actually, as I mentioned, our lab is basically the AI and data analytics lab. And you see, data is an oil, and we are mainly working on the data. Although I would like to mention the most challenging point is here to get the data itself. Data is the big challenge. So sometimes you build the model, you come up with the predictions, but the predictions are not true. So here I would refer back to your previous slide and the previous question where the empathy is there. Empathy is the most important. We cannot 100% rely on the AI. We are mentioning deep learning, machine learning, which is a black box. So the human understanding, human interaction, human prediction, it really matters.
And I think, once again, a round of applause, please. I think this is a very, very, very important point. I mean, AI plays a huge part, but actually, we're about people, aren't we?
Yeah, and it also really links to the trust factor as well, right? So like, as you're saying, if you're predicting stuff and it's going wrong with AI, then people are going to quickly lose trust, and then we're going to use alternative options. So I think, it's really important that we get the data right, so we predict the right things, and then that will foster the trust. Cool. So maybe it's whoever wrote gamification, I'm always super interested in this topic. If you're not too shy. Okay. It's you again. Perfect. Just getting the microphone for you now.
This gentleman's becoming a regular feature. I like it.
Thank you so much. So using AI to predict behavior of humans in community and rewarding them based on their behaviors with points, leaderboards, and gifts, making the community assuring positive behavior and vilifying bad behaviors would be a very huge effect on using AI for communities.
Are you currently in a community that does this, or is it just something that you think?
I would say the community of work is currently using gamification for attendance, for doing good works, and we already implementing this in our work, and work can be a representative of a small community, and we're already using this, and it have a positive experience, yes.
Okay, perfect, cool. I think we have, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have a question here.
Let's hear it for our friend at the back. Second time up.
Maybe next time you can join us on stage.
We have a question here. Yes, sir.
Salah Al-Malki, Health of Ministry, Key Performance Indicator Professional. I want to ask you about community prediction disease. We have in Ministry model of care Okay, we are implementation and measuring.
If you could put your microphone a bit closer,
Okay.
sorry.
We have in Ministry of Health model of care. Under medical of care, there is how we can prediction the community before coming for healthcare provider like chronic disease. We have challenges about awareness the community for disease. We are using media, using like lecture. Many times we trying, but there is many challenges about this. We in model care should be we are protect the community before coming for BHCs or hospital.
Yeah.
Like diabetes, like breast cancer, colon cancer. We have now in BHCs family medicine, But how can make more awareness the community for public health, like vaccination, like media, like lecture awareness. We need support about that.
Yeah, so I think because we're coming from ENOA, which is the energy and water company, I haven't thought so much about healthcare. I don't know if Lawrence or Frank, you have something to add, but I think it's more around like the communication and raising awareness, as you mentioned.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think it's the challenge, it's the golden nugget that we're all looking after, whether it's in the context of community building for healthcare, or in our case, it's about community building, about people who eventually would like to come and live in NEOM. But I think what is at least a common thread in all these, or in the search to that golden nugget, is to start the dialogue and try to gather people, we call it sometimes the coalition of the willing. You always need to start with the coalition of the willing, that are the people that are naturally inclined to a certain subject. In your context is maybe healthcare. In our context it's more about NEOM, energy, water, or sustainable society. And then indeed try to find a purpose or a number of purposes that can be used to make that coalition of the willing bigger, and at some point, almost word of mouth or mouth-to-mouth publicity starts creating and also maintaining the community. But I'm afraid, if you know the answer, give us a call, because we're also interested. But what I would suggest is that we look together for ways to... Yeah.
We have another comment here. A question?
Thank you so much. My name is Kamal Othman, assistant professor at Al Qura University. Actually, my work, my PhD work was in the applying AI on robotics.
Okay.
So now I'm applying AI in different things, but what I see when my kids studying with the system here, sometimes they get bored, and that's normal everywhere. So what I'm thinking is how the AI give the motivation to those kids to learn while they're enjoying, while they're entertaining. That's first question. Second question, it's from the AI side. We always, as the professor there mentioned, that we need data, and always when we talk about deep learning, we need a huge number of data, right? The question is, how can the machine learn from small data? Because we are human, we don't need huge data to learn something, right? So the question is, how can we take the advantage of small data, the machine learn from the small data? I hope if you can share your opinion.
So to the second question, I really don't know. I think that, as things progress, then we will be able to use, less data to get better results. To the first question, and all I could talk about is my own field, which is user experience design and customer experience design, and that is all about engagement. And I think that if we can engage the people that we're talking to on a visceral level, whatever we're doing, to really make them feel something, then I think that, the boredom is gone. We've seen gamification mentioned here quite a few times. And I've never been a gamer, incidentally, just for clarity. But what does fascinate me about gamers is how they can sit in front of the screen for hours and hours and hours in complete immersion. And I think Frank's mentioning golden nuggets, right? I think that, the golden nugget, the key to what drives people to do that is invariably what answers your question. So for me, it all starts with people, it starts with engagement, motivations. And yeah, like I say, I'm no expert on education, but I like to think I'm an expert in people and user experience. So I hope that goes some way to...
I would just like to add on that. So we had a really interesting conversation before around Frank's son passing a module in university. And we were discussing how there's like different ways people learn, right? So some people benefit in certain ways, some people do it in another way. And I think that's something that AI can really help with, because then it's not just the kids that are good at doing exams, it's kind of everyone, and everyone has more of a chance. And I think that's a way in education that AI is really going to open up and especially help like the youth moving forward. Does anybody else want to mention? Oh, we have a question here.
First, bad luck, I came too late. This is no question, but I just to comment about my friend. I am Mustafa Al-Husseini, University Professor in Taiba University. My main interest is artificial intelligence. Regarding the second question about how to get your data, how to train your machine learning with small data set. You know the difference between machine learning and deep learning. In machine learning, the first difference between machine learning and deep learning, in machine learning, you can learn the model with small data. If you have huge data, you can step to deep learning. The second difference between deep learning and the machine learning, the deep learning makes the feature engineering automatically, okay? So if you have low data, you can use data augmentation, okay? And there is a hot topic called active learning. Active learning. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Let's hear a round of applause for the two speakers that we've just had. This is quite a great discussion to get going. Yeah, it's really good. And remember, of course, this isn't just about us talking at you, you talking back at us. We would encourage internal conversations like this, because this is where, for us, the magic happens.
Yes, and we have another question here, and I'd just like to iterate on Lawrence's point. It's really, really cool to see how many people are here from all different areas, and yeah, a lot of professors, which is really nice. And after we have two questions here and here, festival.
Right.
I'm glad that this is causing some engagement.
Okay, I just want to ask you about the positive impact that the automation will cause in regards to the communities, but that's in operation-wise maybe. But have you thought about the negative impact that automation might cause in terms of job displacement? Like because of the automation, many people might lose their jobs because they will be replaced by robotics or any other technology. So that could have a negative impact on the society or the community.
So I'd be tempted to open this question up to the larger group, actually. So who was, I think there's a gentleman here. We've spoken to you once before as well. So if we could get a microphone over to this gentleman, I think he's going to have a go at answering that question. The gentleman there in the black shirt, the blue shirt.
But yeah, I think it is a really important thing that we don't always just look to the positives, but we also look for the negatives. But within these negatives, it also creates such opportunities that maybe the people before that were doing these kind of jobs can then be trained, potentially using AI, onto like something that's maybe a bit more rewarding, or yeah, something different, meaning yeah, that they're not going to be out of employment. So yeah.
Totally agree. Yes, totally agree with you that again, it's all about revolution. So the constant rate of learning curves for the teams on the field need to be changed to be adapted with the AI now. So we will never see the ordinary jobs and the ordinary workflows and all of this. It will be replaced, yes, by computer and by AI. However, there are a huge set of jobs shall be created thanks to the AI. for the same team, by the way, but they need to improve themselves. They need to be eager to know the new technologies, how to deal with it, how to maintain it, how to interact with it. So again, many jobs shall be created, as many jobs shall be disappear. Yes. So the equation is equal, actually, in my opinion. Thank you.
Fantastic. Let's hear it for the guy that asked the question and indeed the gentleman that answered it. Thank you.
And we have a question at the back with this lady.
So lady right at the very back, I believe. Ah, there we are. Lady in the stripy top, hello.
Project my voice? Okay. Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. I'm Dr. Evangel, and by far I'm an independent researcher. I work here in Saudi Arabia. I heard somebody over there in front say something about using artificial intelligence to create awareness, disease awareness in the communities. I am pro-AI, but I still have my anxiety concerning AI. The reason is this. Everybody is talking about it and is heavily infiltrating the health care system, which is very good. From what we learned so far, AI is very, very necessary in the healthcare industry because we have enormous data. But what we are not sure is the accuracy of this data we have. With right data, right algorithm, the right context, we will go a long way. But my question is this. You know, when something is very, very innovative, at a particular time, it becomes a general thing. And it is mass-produced. How do we make sure that AI is properly regulated in the health industry? For instance, a physician will go through the medical college for almost 7 years, and then somebody somewhere there will produce maybe a clinical decision support system that didn't even take him up to a month, and we are using it. How do we regulate these systems? That is number one. And number two is, how do we make the physicians greatly involved in the development, the implementation, and the use of these systems? Because all the people I talked to today, they have all these systems out there, but I never talked to any physician being totally involved in the development of these systems.
Yeah.
So how do we carry them along?
I would really
Thank you so much.
I would really love to connect you to our health and well-being sector. I know that people are working on this within NEOM. Unfortunately, this isn't Lawrence and I's area of expertise. I mean, Lawrence might have some thoughts on it. I personally don't. But maybe we can connect after and I can link you up with the guys that are working on this at NEOM.
And I don't know where the person was who asked the question. Sorry. Can you raise the hand? I want to talk. Ah, okay. All right. Let me also stand up. That's more polite. So first of all, thank you for your question. I mean, what at least this session learns is that getting into a conversation and open up, you know, at least makes the issue clear. We don't have the answer. But what I think is always a good step in the good direction is to start identifying people who are dealing with the same problem you have, which is about creating a community of people, first of all, that share the problem and can bring expertise and or experience to the table to help each other, which again is creating communities. I'm just trying to bring it back to the theme that we're trying to explore here with you. So we're no experts in medical stuff. We are an energy and water company that is going to live and provide services in NEOM. We are convinced that community building is an answer to a lot of the questions that we have, and I think the session so far is just making that point. And now I turn it back to the people on stage.
Thank you very much. Let's have a round of applause for the person that asked the question and indeed the person that answered it. Thank you. And I think Frank makes a very, very good point. And this is that we don't know all the answers, but the power of community and the power of the communities we want to build, the people we want to talk to within ENOA, within NEOM, it's all about people. It's all about creating this next level of livability. And I think that when we look at things from a community perspective, when those communities are particularly powerful and come together in the right way, we can start answering those questions together. And as Frank said, indeed, building these kind of, these conversations, facilitating these conversations. So I'd like to thank you. It's a very good question, and I think that's opened up a very nice area of talk there.
Yes, so I think we have time maybe for one more question. I can already see the guy. Perfect.
Yes, thank you for a great presentation and really a very great kind of interaction between all of the attendees. Actually, I just want to answer the lady. I'm actually an associate professor at King Saud University, so specialized in this network security. So mostly what we do is that when AI is there or these intelligent algorithms are there, so there is a monitoring, check, and a feedback by the professionals. So that actually will raise the efficiency of the system. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much. A small ripple of applause for this gentleman as well. Thank you.
So I think now leads us on to our final slides, which is actually about, growing this community. We have our Enowa's LinkedIn link. So if you scan the QR code, we can connect with you. If there's any people in the audience, I think we're from very diverse backgrounds. If you want to be connected with a particular area or sector in NEOM, we can also facilitate that. We would love to meet any startups, partners, maybe you're our future colleagues, who knows, that would also be great. We're always looking for really talented people. So please scan the QR codes and keep in touch.
And I think to build on Holly's words, this, as we said, this is not a one-time thing. You know what it's like at these events, right? You go, you get inspired, you take away the bag, and then a week later, a lot of it's forgotten. We don't want to be those guys. We want to be the people that are facilitating a continuous conversation with people like you, experts in the field of AI, people from the youth communities, people from the Generation Z, the Generation Alpha. And we firmly believe that by facilitating and helping with this conversation, we can really, really, really improve the livability of everybody on our planet. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for attending today. We feel fully privileged and honoured to be here in the lovely Riyadh talking to you all. And with that, we say goodbye. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you for the team that helped organise the task force. They're all at the back. So the camera crew, the technical crew, organisers.
Yeah, let's hear it for the organisation team. Come on, a ripple of applause. These guys have done a great job. Thank you.
It'll be
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ahmed Gouda. I'm a solution architect lead with Amazon Alexa. I'm based in Dubai. I'm part of the Middle East, North Africa Alexa team. And I'm also presenting or delivering this presentation with my colleague Faisal. He wasn't able to join us today, but we've been working together in this one. Our session today will be how to build your voice application using Amazon Alexa. We have a kind of agenda today. We will go through how to build your first application. What is Alexa actually, and what did we launch in the Middle East? Also, we will talk about like the Alexa skill kit, voice user interaction, and the two sides of Alexa skill. And then we will conclude with some of the Amazon science publication around Amazon Alexa in Arabic as well. Let's first start with Amazon Alexa and understand how actually the interaction between us as a human and the technology evolved over the years. We started with the punch card back in the 60s and 60s and 70s, and then we evolved to the GUI. We start seeing like an interface. You can interact with it with a keyboard, so you can use that as a command line interface. Then that evolved further later on in the 80s and 90s to the GUI with a click with a mouse, so you can use that mouse to interact with your application. And then recently starting from 2000s and onward, we start having the web interface, more interaction. Then we moved to the mobile, start using the touch screen. And now we are in the era of the touch screen as well. But now the voice is becoming another level of interaction between us and the technology. And we in Amazon believe that the voice will improve our life and will improve our way to interact with the technology for the future generation. If you imagine, if you're today using one of the application to in your smart home to turn on light or turn off lights, imagine how many clicks are you using in your smart home. You are opening your smart home. You are opening your application on your phone, doing some clicks, opening the app, log into the app, turn on the light, and then when you turn off the light, you will do the same. But imagine if you are doing that with a voice. You will be able to say easily, turn on the light, and the light will be opened. Turn off the lights will be turned off. We introduced, within Amazon Alexa, we introduced Echo Family. In Echo Family, we have multiple different devices that can meet the customer expectation or customer requirement. We started with Echo Family. These are the devices with a speaker and microphone, so you'll be able to speak and listen to the outcome of the output of the devices. And also we have the Echo Show devices, which is similar to the Echo Dot Family, but this one with screen. So you will be able to interact as well with the voice, but you can see the output as well on a card or on a screen in a visual format. So if you are playing videos or you are playing games and you need some more interaction, the screen will help you to add additional interaction with the device itself. Alexa is actually cloud-based services. It's cloud-based voice services. So everything is actually available in the cloud. It's constantly learning and adapting and learning from you and from us how to, and this has helped us to improve the services itself. We are also continuously adding new features and updates while we are going and we are building or releasing new features. Alexa is the brain itself. It's power all the Amazon Echo devices. So this handles for you all the speech recognition, natural language understanding, and the machine learning. So as a developer or as someone is building voice application, you don't have to worry about all these technologies itself. Anyone with a limited knowledge within machine learning, natural language understanding, they can easily build voice application on Alexa. We launched Alexa in Arabic last December 2021 in Saudi Arabia and UAE. And when we launched and this is actually the 9th language that we launch with Amazon Alexa. As all the new launches, we faced some of the challenges as well. These challenges might be known for the Arabic speakers. We are actually having the modern standard Arabic or Al-Fusha is the actual written language. But in our day-to-day activity or in our day-to-day life, we are using our dialects. We are using different dialects according to from where we are living, the community, and so on. So this is actually faced a challenge because our speaker or Alexa itself needs to understand the dialect in order to be friendly and close to the customers. We have also engaged, or we tried to build a hyper-localized experience to our customers to meet the local in the Saudi Arabia and also in the UAE. Even in the speech output itself, we have used a Khaliji voice that will be able to be close to the customers when they are listening to Alexa. So our text-to-speech model is using Khaliji dialects as well. We are also providing the modern standard Arabic or Fusha for some of the things that needs a formal speech. If it's reading news, if it's reading some of the information as a knowledge, will be in Fusha. But if it's interacting with your jokes, with some informal discussion, will be in dialects as well. And we will see that together. So as I mentioned, we built hyper-localized experience when we launched back in December. And also many of the news within the Saudi Arabia and the Middle East highlighted this launch in different newspaper and websites. So what Alexa can do? Alexa can help you to, as I mentioned, to be part of your smart home systems, can boost your productivity at home. It can also help you to boost your spirituality with Quran, with prayer times, also entertainment, news, music, and many, many other features. But let's try it ourselves right now. I have an Alexa device, and let's start with the interaction. Alexa, صباح الخير.
صباح النور.
Alexa, كيف حالك؟
أنا بخير، شكراً على سؤالك.
Alexa, وش الجو اليوم؟
درجة الحرارة الحين في الرياض 37 درجة مئوية مع جو صافي ومشمس. توقع خلال اليوم نفس الجو مع درجة حرارة عظمى 42 درجة وصغرى 26 درجة.
أليكسا، متى موسم الرياض؟
موسم الرياض هو مهرجان ترفيهي عالمي يقام في مدينة الرياض ويهدف لتحويلها إلى وجهة ترفيهية سياحية عالمية. وينطلق موسمه الثالث في 20 من أكتوبر 2022 وينتهي في مارس 2023.
أليكسا، متى اليوم الوطني؟
اليوم الوطني للمملكة العربية السعودية سيكون الجمعة 23 من سبتمبر 2022.
أليكسا، عرفيني عن نفسك.
أنا التي يعمل البيت بأتمتتي ويصبح المنزل أنسا وينتظم. الجد والمزح والإنجاز يعرفني واللحن والنصح والأخبار والنظم. وكلما احترت في أمر ستسألني تجد جوابا من السحابة يغتنم. وإن رغبت بأطباق مميزة جلبت وصفاتها الصحي والدسم. يا أجمل الناس حتى في معادلتي لك الرخاء وأنت الحلم والكرم.
أليكسا، إيش أكلتك المفضلة؟
أنا مساعد صوتي ذكي ما أقدر أكل، لكن لو قدرت أول شيء ودي أبدأ فيه هو صحن مطبق مع بيالة شاهي.
أليكسا، متى صلاة الظهر؟
اليوم اليوم في الرياض صلاة الظهر بعد 36 دقيقة في الساعة 11 والدقيقة 9:40 صباحا. هل أجاب هذا سؤالك؟
أليكسا شكرا. As you can see, this is a very simple things that you can do with Alexa on a day-to-day activity. And all this is actually some of the built-in or the features that we have released for the customers and many, many other more as well. Now, let's look at the Alexa services as well and how can you build something similar to that. Alexa actually leveraging a free self-services API. As I mentioned earlier, Alexa lives in the cloud. It's used the automated search speech recognition, ASR, and natural language understanding, the NLU, and this is all done on behalf of you. But now if you would like to build your own application, build your own services, we have two different sets of frameworks that can help you to do that. The first one is something called Alexa. The first one is called Alexa Skill Kit, ASK. This will help partners, brands, developers actually to build their own skill. They can bring their own content. You can bring your own content to Alexa, and Alexa will interact with the customers and get the content from your services, your back end, your own API, and deliver it to the customers as well. So this is the first part, or this is the first way to build with Alexa. The other way as well is called Alexa Voice Services. Now, if you would like to integrate Alexa and make Alexa part of your application, part of your hardware, you want to put it in the car, in the fridge, in the vacuum machine, in a watch, or any other device that has a speaker and microphone. You can even build an Alexa project on a Raspberry Pi. This is also free, available in GitHub, Alexa Voice Services, or AVS. You can download the SDK and integrate that within your application, within your devices, and build a very rich experience for your customers as well. So these are the two ways that the developer can use in order to use or integrate Alexa in their application or in their devices. Let's focus a little bit on the Alexa Skill Kit, or the ASK. It's much easier to build. It will help any developer, student, anyone with interest to build voice application to start or to build that in few hours. We have multiple different ways. We have different type of skills. We have something called custom skills. We have music skills. We have smart home skills. We have flash briefing skills. We've been working with many brands and many developers across the region in order to build some of these skills, or what we call third-party skills. As an example of that, we have worked with Fatafeet to build a recipe skill. So you can ask Alexa, give me a recipe from the Saudi cuisine, or in Arabic, أعطيني وصفة من المطبخ السعودي, and Alexa will be able to fetch different type of recipe for the customers. We have worked also with Kareem. You can ask Alexa, you can ask Kareem, where is my car, or where is my driver, or where is my ride? And Alexa will be able to fetch the data from Kareem back and provide it to the customers. So you can ask easily in Arabic, Alexa, اسألي Kareem وين السيارة. We have also worked with even individual developers to build very localized games. You can have a balot scorekeeper, socket balot, on Alexa, and then you can use that and start like interacting, play with your friend over the weekend, and then tell Alexa the score. لهم 10, لنا 3, us 3, them 5, and then Alexa will keep recording the scores and announce the winner at the end. So these are type of the skills that the customers can build or developer can build for their customers. We have also worked with many news providers to provide fresh daily or even hourly news for our customers. So you can ask easily ايش الأخبار from a certain news provider, and then you will get a news coming to you from the devices at your home. Also with the smart home, we've been working with many smart home providers to even say something simple like Alexa turn on lights, or even in local ولع اللمبة شغل النور, and it will be able to interact and turn on the lights or turn off the lights for you. These skills is available in something called skill stores. So when you access the skill stores on your mobile app, you can enable these skills either through the mobile app or through the voice itself. Now let's go a little bit deeper and understand how can we build the voice user interface itself and how this is actually works. I'll take an example with that. We have also worked with Domino's Pizza in Saudi Arabia to build as well order tracking skill. So easily, customer can say, Alexa, open Domino's Pizza, or in Arabic, Alexa, افتحي Domino's, and this will open the skill. Let's imagine that this is as it will open the application, and then it will start interacting with the end user or with the consumer. Easily, Alexa here is actually the wake word. This is when you are speaking to Alexa and tell Alexa, Alexa, I'm now speaking to you. So with the wake word, Alexa will start listening and then start sending these utterances or these commands to the Alexa in the cloud. And then we have something called the starting phrases, like when you say open, start, or in Arabic, افتحي, ابدأي, شغلي, وديني حق, روحي إلى. So you can say any of that naturally as you are saying that in a day-to-day activity, and this will open the skill for the customers. Now then, after that, we have something called the skill invocation. So this is when you are invoking a certain skill. So if this is Domino's, you will say, open Domino's. If this is Kareem, open Kareem. Or if this is any other skill that you will build, you have to provide a special name for that skill, so that as if that will tell Alexa which skill it will be opened up and will be available for the user to interact with. Now let's go more deeper. Now once you open the Domino's Pizza, naturally the skill will start interacting with you. Welcome to Domino's. How I can help you? You can tell me, or you can ask me to track your order. So naturally the customer will say, track my order, or where is my order? In Arabic you can say, وين الطلب, وين البيتزا, and you can say many of these phrases as well naturally, and you can program that within your skill. And this is what we call it an utterance. In that utterance, we are converting all these utterance into an intent. So at the end, when the customer say any of these things, where is my order, where is my pizza, where is my dinner, that will all be converted in something called track my order intent. So Alexa will use that intent and send it to your back end in order to know where is actually the order. Some of the other things, the skill should be able to know who you are, or actually where, based on what I will track your order. So easily the skill will interact with you and ask you, okay, in order to track your order, provide me with the number that is actually assigned or used for that order. Then you will provide your phone number easily. Here you will say, my phone number is 0512345568. So Alexa now understands that for that specific intent, which is registered for number, there is a slot value, or there is a value right now. This is the number of the user or the order itself. So I will use that number and send that intent to the back end, and then start looking or searching for that number. So here, what we call it the slot value. So with the intent and slot value, these are the things that Alexa will be able to support the developer and collect it from the consumer, from the user or the end user, and then send that to the back end. Let me give you more example from something that we have built over the last for the last 3 days. And I believe if you have visited Al Manara exhibition, you've been interacting with Alexa across all the life cycles that you went through. If you went to Al Manara exhibition, we have an Alexa in each stage, in each life cycle. So when you go to the first life cycle, which is the birth, you will be able to interact with Alexa in Arabic or in English, saying, ممكن تخبريني عن مرحلة الولادة, or tell me more about the birth stage. And then the same thing for the next one, which is the adulthood, childhood, and until the legacy. So each one of them is actually representing a slot, a variable. It's changed based on the customer utterance itself. So we are taking the birth here as a slot value. So that's sent to the back-end skill, and the skill here will be able to respond back based on what you have asked Alexa to do. Let's understand more from a high level how Alexa skill works. Actually, the customer, as you've seen me doing right now, the customer will interact with Alexa by saying the wake word, Alexa, and then once Alexa actually heard the wake word, will be sending a beamforming of the voice to our Alexa services or Alexa services in the cloud. Here will we do the speech recognition, natural language understanding, and also we will be doing the machine learning as well. Based on that, we will be able to understand the intent or what the customer is saying. This is track order intent. This is the life cycle intent. And what is actually the slot there? What is the variable there? And this will be sent to your application at the end. And then the application will be able to respond through a programming code, respond back to the Alexa with a JSON format saying, okay, this is the answer, or this is where let's say the order is in the oven, the order is in the way. So will be the response, and the response will be sent to Alexa itself. Alexa text-to-speech engine will convert the text that is coming from your back end into a voice, and then that voice will be sent back to the Alexa device, so you will be able to hear the voice about where is your order or any answer or answers for any question that you have used. Also, there is another path here. If you are using the Alexa Echo Show, if you want to present something to the user on the screen, you can send certain cards or certain assets or specific assets, and will be graphical user interface for the customer. Let's understand more the two sides of Alexa or the skill itself. There is two parts. As I mentioned, there is a front end. This is the voice user interface. As I mentioned in an earlier state, this is the new way to interact with your customers. So you need to build a voice user interface, and that interface will be free to act free. You can easily go to developer.amazon.com and create your own account. It's a free of use. There is no charge for that. It's free and available for all the developers to build their own skill. There is no need to put any kind of credit card or any sort of cost. This is free and open for all the developers. All Alexa services, any of the Alexa services that I mentioned today, either from the ASK or from the AVS, it's free for the developer to build and also create their own skills. There is no cost for that. Also, there is a back end that needs to be done. This is where the processing will happen. This is where the interaction with your own API. If you want to connect to your own database, to connect to your own public API, will be done on something called hosted skill, with using some of AWS features like Lambda function, S3 to host your assets, and many others. You can also host, or you can interact directly with your own API. If you have an API and you are able to receive JSON format from Alexa and send JSON format to Alexa as well, then you will be able to build your own hosted custom skill as a web service. So there is 2 or 3 different ways to build your own skills. So if we took these steps one by one, you will find the first one is building the voice interface. And going into the voice interface here, as I mentioned earlier, you need to create multiple intent related to the tracking of the order, another intent for registering for numbers, another intent for something else, and all these intents, and then input or include for each intent of them example phrases. So if it's track your order, you want to provide like, where is my order, where is my pizza, where's my food, where's my dinner, and so on, and enrich that into your model. And here you will be able to build that on the developer console. On the back end, you will either use the hosted skill or going through the building the Lambda function. This is part of microservices that's available in Alexa and through AWS. You will be able to use that in order to build a code in the cloud that will allow you or help you to handle the request coming from Alexa to your backend. And finally, you will be able to do multiple stages before publishing the skill. You need to do the testing, the customization, and at the end, the certification process, and publish the skill for the user. And all the skills that we have seen on the stage is actually went through all this process of development until the skill is actually available for the customers. And again, I would like to emphasize that this is open and available for any developer, anyone who's actually interested to build a skill. This is available for free, and you don't need to, there is no cost actually incurred for any of these services for the customer. Now, you can actually, if you are interested and you are interested to build your own or your first skill, there is a very nice step-by-step tutorials, and it's actually a lab. If we have a time today or later on, or maybe in a future sessions, we can build a workshop for this. This is going to take you to a step-by-step how to build your first skill. So how to build your interaction model, how to build the code, and how to reach until the point of your skill is actually responding to all the invocation and all the utterances that you put there. Let me just put the QR code for more time. People will be able to scan. Now let me move to another topic, which is the Amazon science publication related to Alexa and related to Arabic. And this will be an interesting part for the machine learning, AI, ML students, and also anyone in that field who's actually looking for what Alexa is doing or what Amazon is doing in this part. The first articles that I would like to highlight it's an article available in Amazon.science. It's around how Alexa learned Arabic. What is the development and what is the different challenge that we have faced in order to build Alexa in Arabic and make Alexa able to speak Arabic and also understand Arabic. It's going into details on the natural language understanding, the ASR, and the TTS, text-to-speech services, and how we have also been able to work with many challenges, such as the diacritics, for example, like how we've been able to handle the diacritics. The written Arabic is not with diacritics, or actually we used to not writing Arabic with diacritics. So how the machine or how Alexa will be able to understand the diacritics or al-tashkil. Diacritics actually change the meaning of the word itself. So how Alexa would be able to handle that, either the different diacritics, al-shadda, al-hamazat, and so on. And this is also impact the TTS, the text-to-speech. So this is how we will be able to provide a text-to-speech and how we will improve also the text-to-speech over the time with handling all of these edge cases. Also in this articles, we have been highlighting many of the things related to the different dialects, different spoken forms of the language itself. So please feel free to scan the QR code and read more about this article. Another article, and this is actually will be one of the most interesting thing that Amazon and Alexa will be releasing soon. So we announced last month that Amazon and Alexa will release Alexa teacher model, Alexa TM20P. This teacher model, or this model, is actually will be our contribution to the natural language processing, which is, and it's actually as the benchmark of many of the researchers, it's actually competing the GPT-3 and also BALM for the NLP as well. So this model is, there is a research paper. You can find the link to that research paper, which is written by multiple Amazon Alexa AI scientists and researchers within Amazon. And also there is an article around that in details. I would encourage everyone interested in that to visit or read the paper. This is soon will be released in GitHub. So we have a GitHub repository available for that. The model will be released soon, so watch the space, watch the space for this one. This model, or this teacher model, it has a 20 billion parameter. It's a multilingual, and this is also a unique feature for that one. It's a sequence to sequence, and we have a support for Arabic and many other language as well, which is differentiate this model from other models that's available for the researcher. It's also this model has a machine learning translation and news summarization as well for the learn. With that, I would conclude the session, and thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the talk and the session. I would encourage everyone to use Alexa, try it today, and also build your first skill there. Thank you very much.